The following podcast features stunts and not so great jokes performed by no professionals. Accordingly, BFB and the producers must insist that no one attempt to recreate or reenact any stunt or activity performed on the podcast.
Let's play.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all those tuning in and watching today's podcast episode. We have a very special guest for everyone. He's an exceptional, multi-talented guitarist and singer-songwriter. Everybody, please welcome Grant Evans.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here.
We definitely appreciate you joining us and giving us a chance for technically our first official episode.
Awesome. Yeah. That's exciting, man. Glad to get things off the ground for you.
All right. So I guess let's just go ahead and dive right into the first question.
Sweet. Yeah.
Okay, so regarding your style of music, what genre or subgenre would you say it falls under?
For my solo project, it's definitely in the vein of metalcore. I listen to, a lot of Bullet for My Valentine and Trivium, and then kind of like, newer metalcore, like, Architects have been around a long time, but they like really popped off over the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And have that like really new gent style. So I really like that style of metalcore.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely feel you there.
Yeah.
Bring Me the Horizon has always been one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you'd really consider Motionless and white metalcore.
They're like, and this isn't to slander them at all because I actually love that band, but like I always considered them like buttcore because it's like if like Wage War and Nickelback had a baby, it'd be like or maybe more like Breaking Benjamin and Wage War, right? Because they have like nasty breakdowns, but then like their choruses are kind of like really pretty.
Yeah, really like that melodic style.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you kind of answered the second part of this question when you said Trivium and stuff like that. But what bands would you say you draw most of your inspiration from?
A band I didn't mention already would be a Day to Remember. A Day to Remember, they were really popping off when I was in high school, and their Homesick album was, that album was just fire back in the day, and I still go back to it from time to time, and I draw a lot of inspiration from their lyrical content and the way that they structure their songs with breakdowns and screaming and clean singing and stuff like that. So
oh yeah,
definitely a Day to Remember.
Okay, I respect that a lot. A Day to Remember has always been one of my favorites as well.
Yeah.
Can't not. I mean, you don't have to like them, but typically, in my opinion, if you're into the whole metalcore scene, at least know of A Day to Remember.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. They have so many bangers and like just so many hit songs. Whether you like their soft stuff or their hard stuff, like they have such a great variety. That's what I love about them.
Honestly, I don't think I've really ever been displeased with one of their songs or one of their albums.
Yep.
So
yep.
Far,
even
just hit.
Even the newest song they just released, it's kind of like a little different, but I'm just like so biased towards the band. I don't think they could release anything bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Fucking, even my sister would agree. That is like her all-time favorite right there.
Hell yeah.
So, going into more of guitar-based subject. How long have you been playing guitar?
I picked it up when I was about, I don't know, 10 or 11, and I'm 31 now. So pretty crazy to think that it's been 20 years.
Holy shit.
Uh, uh, yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a very long road. Started my first band when I was, around that time, 10 or 11. My brother was playing drums. I was playing guitar. He taught me how to play drums first,
Oh
and
shit.
then he thought it'd be cool if I could learn guitar so that we could start a band. So I did that, and I just, I don't know, it just kind of came natural, and
Just ran with
with
it from there.
yeah, we just started like writing music together, and um, yeah, it's I don't know, just everything kind of came naturally. Like I don't even know how to write a song. I was just writing whatever came out at the time. It was really terrible, but
You
it
got to start
was
somewhere.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. No, I respect that. That's fucking cool. That's hella
Yeah.
cool. What would you say your favorite company or model of guitar would be?
Um, man, I so the last band that I was in, we were endorsed by Ernie Ball, and
Oh shit.
so that was pretty cool. I got to play in Ernie Ball Saber and in Ernie Ball Jason Richardson signature series, and both those guitars were just so amazing. I'd say like just putting in a lot of like touring, um, just putting a lot of hours on those guitars touring. I don't know, I just kind of fell in love with the instrument. I've played, you know, anything between like Ibanez and Dean, PRS, and the Ernie Ball guitars. They feel amazing. Um, PRS would probably be my second, and I played on a Dean for quite some time. It's not that I really loved Dean, but it was like I found a guitar that was kind of in my budget, um, that I fell in love with, and it was a Dean Custom 550.
Oh
So it
shit.
had a neck through and a Floyd Rose, and it had the straight six headstock, which I really liked. So yeah,
Hell yeah.
that,
Uh, that actually, I guess, that might answer the next question too. When it comes to strings, is your preference Ernie Ball?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I um, I play let's see here. I play the gold pack, which is the heavy bottom light top.
Okay.
I'm typically playing in drop C or drop B, and if I go any heavier, like in drop A, then I'll go um, up to like maybe like a 62
Okay.
on the lowest string.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I actually this is my current guitar. Let
Ooh.
me see. Let me pull up my screen here. Yeah, so this actually isn't an Ernie Ball. This is um, a Sterling by Ernie Ball, and
Oh shit.
um, yeah, it's basically Ernie Ball on a budget.
But it's
Uh,
still super fucking clean nonetheless.
yeah, it's a very nice guitar. I think it retails for like $1,100. Um, so we can get into that later. I know that we're going to talk about something else. Why I don't have an Ernie Ball hanging on my wall right now. Because those guitars are very expensive. I had to buy that one because uh, I needed an Ernie Ball slash Sterling on a budget, and that's what I got. So,
Your budget's a lot better than my budget.
well, the Ernie Ball guitars are like $3,500.
Oh my god, my wallet's crying.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think the most expensive guitar I have It's actually sitting right above you. This was actually my father's Dean.
Sick.
It's
Yeah,
it's actually a vintage 1970 model.
that's awesome.
It's my pride and joy. This thing has only ever been touched by my father and me.
That's great, dude.
So
Yeah.
obviously, it's
Yeah, playing a Dean V or any V is you either love it or you hate it because it's just such a different feel than like a more of a traditional body style, right?
yeah. And
Um,
the one I normally play is actually an Ibanez,
yeah,
and that's actually sitting right next to the Dean.
yeah, that's awesome.
But I think preference-wise, I'd lean towards Dean and Schecter.
Yeah, no, Schecter's awesome. Like if you need a really solid guitar, especially for playing like metalcore stuff, uh, Schecter's got some high end guitars that are really nice, that are still like I would say budget friendly,
Yeah, definitely.
and even their low end models are pretty solid.
I think I'm actually wanting to pick up it was a Schecter. I think it was like a C5 model.
Sick.
I wanted to pick one of those up, and I was messing around with it at Guitar Center. I was like, yeah, no, this is the one. I want this one.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, rolling along. Still another kind of guitar-based question. Do you use pedals, and what are your favorite effects?
So I haven't used pedals in quite some time. I used to have uh, an angle tube head with a Mesa 412 cab, and you know, I had a big pedal board that I built, and I don't know, I probably had like 7 or 8 pedals on there. Like the MXR carbon copy delay is like one of the best like analog delay pedals you can get
Yeah.
out there. Um, MXR gate pedal, like that's pretty necessary for playing like metalcore stuff. Uh, yeah, I mean, I haven't played on a pedal board in quite some time because everything has gone digital. And nowadays I'm playing on a Helix Line 6 rack unit. And like when you are touring, like all the big pro bands they're rolling in a rack system that has like all of their wireless in-ear systems and microphones and guitar wireless systems, and then you just have your rack units and you run everything into a splitter so that everyone can mix their ears, and then you send tails to front of house, and that way you don't have to worry about foot pedals and switches, and you just maybe you just roll with a single foot switch that's specifically for the Helix, or maybe you're using a Kemper.
Okay.
Late Night Savior, the other band I'm in, they use Kempers. So a lot of the tones that are built that we're using are really really solid tones that we've found online, that we've downloaded and then just like tweaked to sound the way that we want them to sound.
Kind of like a whole less is more situation.
Yeah, it's cleaner. It's cleaner on stage. You don't have like a ton of gear sitting behind you. Setting up and tearing down is way faster. You don't have to haul a ton of gear in your trailer because you're minimizing everything. But obviously, if you're playing like local gigs on like really small PAs, that type of setup isn't going to really work for you, just because the sound system needs to be able to handle all your instruments plus all of your backing tracks and production, plus the drums and vocals, and it's kind of a lot to cram into a small PA system. So if you're playing like bigger rooms, then absolutely every pro band nowadays is using that type of setup. Like no one is using traditional uh, tube amplifiers these days, unless you're like, I've actually heard that, not to bring up Nickelback again, but I actually have heard that Nickelback, they prefer to tour with like actual like cabinets. So they might actually run everything digital, but then they're going to run that through a cabinet, which is going to be backstage in an ISO box, and then they'll actually mic up the cabinet, just because they love that analog sound.
Okay.
Uh, but that's also like they have millions of dollars and they can do whatever they want, and they have a semi truck full of gear that they can bring. Uh, so yeah, for us being a small time touring band, but playing big enough rooms to where we can just run like a digital unit, that's the way to go nowadays.
Okay. Yeah. No, it definitely sounds a hell of a lot easier now that you have explained that. Because I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, I just started getting serious into guitar like earlier this year. So when it came to setup and shit, I had no idea what the fuck how to do any of it or what was needed. But
yeah.
no, it's cool learning that. That definitely sounds fucking a lot easier. And I mean, technology nowadays is just getting better and better.
Yeah, and it's really not that much more expensive, just because like the old analog gear is still really expensive. If you have, so I essentially I sold all my analog gear and bought digital, and uh you still had to, maybe fork up an extra couple $100, but um like I sold my head, my cab, and all my pedals, and then I was able to buy the Line 6 Helix. Um, and then if you want to get into the inner systems and the splitter, then that's going to be a little bit more.
Okay, yeah. Damn. So much into it.
Yeah.
So much going into that. That's fucking crazy. All right. So alongside guitar, obviously you sing. I know this from listening to your tracks and your songs and just your music in general on Spotify. Were you learning to sing while learning guitar, or did that come later?
Um, I learned I learned both at the same time. When I was really young, I was and I just started playing guitar. I naturally just kind of started singing and like writing lyrics. I was not good. And I still don't think I'm not a great singer,
I beg to
but
differ.
um, there's been many successful singers that maybe are not the greatest. Like if you look at Kurt Cobain from Nirvana or something like that, like you could argue that he's not going to be singing like uh, Adele
Yeah. Uh,
swinging vocals, right? I mean,
yeah.
he's got a very like specific kind of like grunge voice. In and uh, I feel like just to get to where I am today, like I've had to put in a ton of work. Like there's some people that are just like naturally talented and gifted that are just like amazing straight out of the box. And then there's the other type of people that have to really put in the work to get to even like a mediocre uh, whatever it is. And I feel like that's been my entire existence. Uh, like I definitely started out singing and playing guitar at the same time, and a lot of it was just getting the rhythms down on guitar while uh, getting the rhythms down with my vocals,
Yeah.
and almost like splitting my brain, like thinking, okay, I got to think about guitar on this rhythm and my vocal delivery uh, like with this particular rhythm. And if you're able to really split those two and think about them simultaneously, then you kind of like unlock this part of your brain to where you can like play metalcore riffs and sing at the same time.
That is definitely one thing I struggle with as well. I mean, I can't sing for shit. I can barely play, but trying to sing the song I'm learning, because right now I'm in the middle of learning Rebel Love Song by Black Veil Brides, and
Sick.
it is a ridiculously hard song in my opinion. Probably could have started easier, but I always throw myself into the deep end when learning something. But
Yeah.
trying to sing along to the parts that I've learned and have gotten down for the most part already, I freeze. I just can't fucking do it.
Yeah, it just takes practice, man. Really just sitting down and trying to pick apart a section at a time and work on that specific section. And especially if you're trying to line up vocals with guitar parts too, figuring out like what syllable you're singing lands on the downbeat of one or the downbeat of three or whatever it is to try and like sync up those rhythms.
Oh, yeah.
And once you kind of unlock those things, then it gets a lot easier.
It's just a big learning curve that I got to get around.
Just put the time in, dude. You'll get there.
I mean, I definitely put in more time on the guitar than I do singing. I'll admit that. I spend roughly 45 minutes to 2 hours almost every day on the guitar.
That's great. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's more than I'm playing right now.
I mean, it depends if you're on tour or not, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then were you self-taught when you started singing, or did someone teach you?
I would say I'm pretty self-taught. I had a friend in middle school. He taught me like 3 or 4 chords on an acoustic guitar, and then I kind of just like I practiced those 3 or 4 chords for hours and hours and hours, and then I just kind of figured out like, oh well, if I could play those same 4 chords, but like kind of like mix up the orientation of those chords, and then it creates this different style or this different sound of a song. And like kind of once I unlocked that, and then also figuring out that like, you know, an acoustic chords could also just be played as like power chords. Then I borrowed a friend's electric guitar and like a little 10-watt Fender amplifier, and
Oh, yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, and then yeah, just kind of like just spending hours on the instrument, figuring out what sounds cool, and just playing around with writing music.
Kind of similar to Leonard Skinner. Most of them didn't know how to play an instrument before the band formed. They just went out and, hey, this sounds pretty cool. Do that again.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I guess.
Okay. What advice could you offer someone wanting to learn how to sing or play an instrument? What do you think would be like the most crucial piece that you could offer?
Yeah, dude, just putting in the time. Like, don't give up. Practice every single day. Just like you're doing. 45 minutes to 2 hours every day. If you can do that consistently every single day, even if you're putting in 20 minutes a day, being consistent with it, whether you're singing or playing an instrument, that really is the goal for life. I will tell you that. If you want to be successful in anything in life, consistency is the key, because you're going to be way better than the next guy who's slacking off and not putting in that time and those repetitions every single day. Like, putting in those 20 minutes or putting in that 1 hour every single day, multiply that by 365 days. Like, you're going to be infinitely better at playing guitar than the guy who, put in 1 or 2 hours in 1 week. Like, you're going to put in 7 hours in 1 week if you're doing an hour a day, right?
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's really the key, is just like put in the time and believe in yourself. Don't give up.
Patience
Do
is key.
some research on YouTube on like just kind of teaching yourself. Like, there's so much free information out there. If you're struggling with something, try and look up some YouTube videos and figure out how to play a song that you really love. Like, get inspired, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, well, that's definitely a useful piece of advice there, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of already answered that question, so I guess we'll just gloss over that. Because you told me you had to push and grind for the tone of singing that you have now.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
you already answered that question, so we'll move on down. So while being a solo artist, you've worked with a few different bands as well. So you want to dive into a little bit about like each band you've been in?
Sure. Yeah. So like I was in a bunch of bands like through middle school and high school. We'd play like some Grange Hall shows, like uh put together a show, get all your friends from high school to go and you know, have someone run the door and make them pay like $3 or $5 at the door
Damn.
to help like at least cover the rental.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a big party. Like everyone's just playing metalcore and everyone's hanging out. Uh, it like those are the good old days. I kind of miss that.
A little bit of
But yeah,
nostalgia
so
there.
after high school, I started to get a little bit serious, and I started a band called Within Sight, and I was the front man and play guitar, and that's kind of where I got my start of touring. We were playing shows locally and regionally up in like Seattle and Portland, and we just wanted to see like what it would be like if we started to branch out a little bit. Like we were already crushing those markets, doing really, really well. We were selling out some venues in those areas. I mean, these are like small venues. Like I'm like 100 to 200 cap rooms, but we had released an EP, and then we released like a 10-track album or
Okay.
11 tracks, and people were coming out to the shows, and I think we did a really good job of promotion. And this was back in like 2014, 2015. We just decided that we should book a tour and kind of see what that's like. And we wanted to stay kind of close to home. So we all took 1 week off of work, and from weekend to weekend, you can factor in like from a Friday to a Sunday. That's going to be 9 days. And I think we played 7 shows in those 9 days.
Oh damn.
And so we just went down I-5, and we played like Washington, Oregon, California, and then we ended in Las Vegas, and drove home. But that was a huge eye opener for us. We lost money on that tour, but we gained so much knowledge about like how we could do things differently for next time. And that was the only tour that band ever lost money on.
Oh shit.
So we kind of like figured out what worked well for us booking those tours and just revamped that every time that we went out on tour again. So I did that for about 8 years,
Oh.
and in 2020, COVID happened, and touring like completely shut down. We weren't playing shows. We were still like writing music and stuff, but I went through some pretty big life changes in 2020. I lost my job. The company I was working for shut down because of COVID. I decided to get sober. My 4 years of sobriety was yesterday.
I saw that on Facebook. Congratulations.
Thank you. So lost my job. I decided to get sober. I wasn't fitting in with my band anymore, so I left my band, and I also got divorced. I was married for 7 years,
Oh
and I got
shit.
divorced. So those those four things happened all within like a 2-month period, and my entire life was kind of turned upside down. But shortly after that, I started dating my now fiance, who's also been sober for 4 years, and we've kind of been navigating that journey together. But during that time, I was also kind of looking for like what was going to be next for me, like with the band. And I had reached out to the vocalist of Sleep Signals. With Insight, the band that I had just left was supposed to do a tour with Sleep Signals in 2020. But then the tour got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
And I saw that there was a couple members in the band that decided to quit. And so I reached out to him, and I ended up joining Sleep Signals because I really liked what they were doing with touring. They were playing some bigger shows, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I ended up joining Sleep Signals, and I was in Sleep Signals for 3 years, and we did some really big touring. I think we toured the country 5 or 6 times
Oh shit.
in those 3 years. Um, and after, let's see here. So while I was still in Sleep Signals, I got hit up by this band called Late Night Savior out of Salt Lake City, and I filled in on guitar and bass for a 30-day national tour that they were doing. And yeah, I was just like the fill-in guy, and I really liked the band, and the guys were super fun and cool and laid back. And I kind of just became like the fill-in guy that never left. So I'm still currently in that band. About a year ago, last July, I ended up leaving Sleep Signals, and I still am actively playing shows with Late Night Savior. And like, there was never an official like moment where like we announced, "Hey, I'm in Late Night Savior now," but like we took some band photos, and like my picture is on their Spotify now, and I've helped contribute writing on a couple of their songs. Um, so yeah, I'm in that band now, plus my solo project, and that's been kind of my long-winded answer to your question of what bands have I played in.
I mean, you definitely have quite the colorful history there, especially the way you started back in middle school, high school, and renting spaces out, and that that's fucking cool. That's like pure ingenuity right there. I respect that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those were the days, man. Just doing the DIY shows are just so much fun, and I really miss that. Just getting into a room with a bunch of people that you like, and not worrying about production and lights, and
Just there to have a good time.
just there to have a good time. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
I
miss
can see
that.
why. Yeah, I can see why you'd miss that. And I think it's safe to assume that during what was it, that 3 years you were with Sleep Signals is when the I guess we could call it the Rock the Falls incident that occurred.
So I wouldn't necessarily call that the incident. It's just I had there was some stuff going on within the band, and some stuff I didn't agree with, and I decided to step down from the band. We had just come off of doing two different tours back to back,
Okay.
and uh, so I ended up leaving last July, and I had bought a house in the previous September. So from September to July, like I had spent probably 3/4 of that time away from my house.
The house you literally just bought.
The house I just bought, yeah. Like I didn't even get to move into my house.
Oh wow.
I like other people moved my stuff into my house because I was on tour.
Yeah.
We got handed the keys. I left for tour the same day,
Oh shit.
and uh, like while I was on tour, my stuff got moved in. That the house got painted and everything, and like um, it was a really difficult time. Uh, I eventually just decided to leave the band because you know, being on the road that much, I felt like was something that I really, really wanted to do my whole life. And kind of like once I had that thing, I decided that wasn't for me. That's not the life that I wanted. And uh, for me personally, I need a little bit more of a balance between being home with family and um, and then playing music.
Yeah.
uh, if you don't really have that balance, I feel like it's unhealthy. And some other people might be able to do that, and that's fine. That's their own agenda. But for me personally, like when I'm home, I need to be present in the moment. I need to like if I'm glued to my computer and I'm working and I'm just constantly grinding away at the thing, then I'm not really home, right? And
Your house has basically just become your office.
yeah, pretty much. And being in a rock band trying to make it nowadays is so difficult, and you have to put in a ton of money in order to uh, get your stuff in front of people. You're spending money on ads, and then you're grinding on social media, like posting about your merchandise and stuff, trying to get people to buy your merch so that you can fund your band and then go on tour to make more money so you can like record music and put out music videos. And it's like this vicious cycle of always staying extremely busy, and then like just trying to come up with social media content to stay relevant.
Yeah.
It's so hard. It's difficult. uh, I don't understand how these bigger bands keep up with all of those things and still have a home life. And it really makes me wonder if any of these big bands have like a successful home life. I don't know the answer to that, but like
I'd say if they do have a successful home life, they probably have a lot of hired help to help keep them relevant. Probably like a
yeah,
whole social media team where they don't have to worry about doing their own personal posts. They just post for them, give people all the updates, and they just sit there and they plan for tours and
yeah.
shows.
So, but when you're a small band
You
and
don't get that luxury.
you don't have the money to do those things, like you have to grind to get to that level to where like, oh man, like we're finally making enough money to where we can start hiring some help so that we can start to relax. It's like that grind is like, you know, I don't know if I would ever see the end of the tunnel there because of the direction that we were headed. It was like I felt like my mental health was going downhill, and I really just wanted to spend more time at home. And so that's kind of also what like inspired me to do my solo project, because I needed that outlet to create music and release music. But being able to do that from home and not have to fly somewhere, because like Sleep Signals is flying out to Kansas to go record with this guy who's amazing, has an amazing studio. But again, it's just taking time away from my family. And, uh, you know, I've invested a lot of time and money into my studio to uh, write and record my own stuff, produce my own stuff. And I feel like the longer I do that, I'm just investing into myself as a producer rather than paying a producer.
Yeah.
And sure, like my songs aren't going to be super professional right off the bat, but I think that for what they are, I think they hold up uh, pretty good. And
I
I'm
mean,
not thousands of dollars per song at that point.
so far everything I've listened to, I've enjoyed thoroughly.
Thank you.
And then, speaking of your Spotify, actually, while listening to some of your solo work, I heard you talk about some of the inspiration for, a couple of your songs and stuff was actually due to an accident that had occurred while on tour with one of your bands?
Yes. So I'm actually going to. I feel like I've released enough music to the point where I'm like, I need to remember like some of the songs. Plus like being like writing with Late Night Savior and Sleep Signals.
I think
I
one of the
released a
songs
couple.
was Weather the Storm.
Yes.
One of my favorites,
So
actually.
okay. So I actually released a couple singles and then my EP. It was the Overcome EP. Yeah. Okay. So the 4 songs on the EP are In Your Hands, Weather the Storm, Heaven, and Overcome. There's actually supposed to be a 5th song called Patterns, and that song got released uh, as a Sleep Signals song. I have an original recording with me singing on it. The Sleep Signals song has the Sleep Signals vocalist. Um, but yeah, these songs were inspired by a bus crash that Sleep Signals was in while we were on tour. We were on tour with POD and From Ashes to New,
Oh shit!
and um, we got rear-ended by a semi truck at 4 in the morning, and it was really terrible. And you know, I I didn't get hurt. Luckily, it wasn't like a full rollover. The bus got ran into, and we flipped once on our side, and we were like skidding along the road. And um, where I was in the bus, where I was sleeping, I was okay. I got bumps and bruises, and I got checked out. I didn't have a concussion or anything, but luckily, like since I wasn't hurt and I didn't get knocked out, I was able to help the rest of my band um, get out of the bus. And we were really worried about there being a fire and stuff like that. Our bass player, he ended up losing his leg,
Oh damn!
and um, yeah, he got life flighted. And then a couple of the other guys, they were in the hospital for quite some time with like head injuries and lacerations. And our guitar player, he had several severed tendons in his hand,
Oh no!
and he had to like relearn how to play guitar. And it was a really terrible accident.
Yeah.
So during that downtime when Sleep Signals wasn't doing anything because of the bus crash, uh, we didn't have any gear. Uh, the bus, the trailer, the merchandise, everything was a total loss. So during that downtime, I decided to write some music and start learning production and engineering. And I recorded a bunch of demos, and I took those demos to my friend who's got a studio up near Seattle. And I recorded those, well, 5 songs actually. I recorded those 5 songs with him in his studio, and I did all the instruments and did all the singing. And uh, the instrumentals were inspired by the bus crash. And if you go listen to my instrumental EP, I have some voice clips in there before each song that kind of walk you through what song uh, was inspired by. And after that, then I I started to take things kind of in house, and anything I released after the Overcome EP was recorded at my house and engineered at my house
Oh
and produced by me uh, with the help of my buddy Kyle, aka Rainquill. I released a couple songs with him recently. Uh,
Actually, I remember listening to that one when you first dropped it. I think it was like a month ago at this point.
yeah, yeah. The song "Carry the Weight."
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
couldn't remember the name off the top of my head.
yeah, Kyle's amazing. Really good friend of mine. just enjoy spending time with him and writing music with him. And he's helped me a lot with like mixing and just navigating being a solo artist and doing everything yourself. And he puts in so much time into his mixes. Like he's on the up and up. I think if he really keeps going at it, I think he'll be like one of the best producers, one of the best up and coming producers within the next 10 years. He's got a great ear for it. And yeah, he's just getting his foot in the door, doing some mixes fairly cheap for people and trying to get his name out there.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know much about Rainquill actually. And I heard the song "Carry the Weight," listened to a few of his other stuff, but at that time I was also doing my deep dive for this episode, so
Yeah.
I didn't go too far into what he's produced. But I definitely see what you mean when you say he has a good ear for it. A lot of the stuff that I did listen to was definitely a hit for sure. Like, just like listening to your stuff, I didn't really find anything I didn't like or wanted to skip. I just came on.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, no, this is good. This is a jam for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
And then let's see here. I'm kind of just glossing through some of the questions. I'm going for some of the more like important stuff because I know we're running low on time here.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Let's see. Oh, we covered that one already.
I know. I talk a lot, dude, sometimes. So
No, that's good. That's fine. It means we're getting all the information that that I wanted to cover, and
yeah,
it's gonna help anyone or everyone who watches this, learn more and be more interested in searching
sure.
you up and going for, your music, subscribing. That's what this is about. Trying to help you get more coverage, and I know with you being on here should help our podcast channel get some more coverage too.
I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is a good question. So without revealing too much, or if you just want to spill the whole can of beans here, can you tell us about any upcoming albums or singles that you'll be releasing?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually releasing a single tomorrow, and it's a cover song of. It's actually there's a country artist named Hardy, and he's got a song called "Sold Out" that I absolutely love. And I decided to cover the song because I've been wanting to cover like country for quite some time. I think that the new country that's been coming out the last like 10 years is really cool because there's so many parallels with rock and metal with country that I thought it'd be really cool to kind of like put a spin on it and make it just slightly more metalcore. So Kyle, aka Rainquill, we did this song together. I put together the instrumental, and I asked him to sing a verse on the cover, and he absolutely crushed it. He sang the second verse, and also the outro, and I did some screaming behind him. And we're definitely going to be doing some more stuff in the near future because it's just so much fun working with him, and I love the variety of being able to throw him on a track because his voice is so different than mine. It's like Mark and Tom from Blink-182.
Okay.
Their voices are so different, like,
But it works
but
so
it,
well together.
but it works, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing to have his vocals on this track, and really excited to release it. And I'm not sure when this video is going to come out, so whoever is listening to this now, this song is going to be coming out on Monday, July 15th. So I hope you guys really enjoy that one. I actually have another song. It's another I'm not actually going to say what it is, but I do have another song that's coming out after this one. It's already recorded. I got the master. Uh, Kyle mixed the song for me, but I did all the instruments and the vocals. I recorded everything here and put together the production, and Kyle mixed it for me, and Kyle did the guitar solo as
Oh
well.
shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a phenomenal guitar player, and I was like, "Yo, dude, this song needs a ripping solo, and you're like way better than me, so like please add your stank on this." So I don't have a release date for that song yet, but I try to release everything within like a month of each other. That's always been the goal as a solo artist, to try and, release one song every month or every 2 months, just to kind of keep the momentum going. I always want people to come back to my profile on Spotify and have something new and fresh to listen to. Um,
Definitely.
and uh, one thing that like my one goal that I set out with my solo music was just to not just to not worry about the numbers and not put any money into promotion, because there's so many scam artists out there nowadays
Tell
that
me about it.
like they want to promote your music for you, and they're just buying bots to listen to your music, and they're not real people. You're not getting real followers. It's actually going to hurt you in the long run, because it's going to destroy the algorithm with your profile. So I am literally just writing music just to bring me joy, like.
I mean,
And I
that's what
don't
it's
want
all
to.
about.
It is. It really is. And I don't want to dump a bunch of money into promotion that may or may not work. And I also am not necessarily interested in like going on these crazy big tours and making that my entire life. Uh, I am still doing some touring with Late Night Savior, and that's kind of like I get to scratch that itch when I play with them,
Yeah.
and then and I'm free to write music with them like whenever I want. Then my solo project, I get to scratch that itch with just writing and producing whatever I want from my house. Like this is it right here. This is my office.
This is my bedroom and my office.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely could understand that for sure. Going down the line a little more, let's see. You answered all the backup questions for that topic. Have any of your songs made it on live radio before?
Yes,
Oh,
actually. Um, so if you look up Sleep Signals, there's been two songs that actually got spun on the radio quite a bit. There's Fearless and One Life, and there's music videos for both of those if you want to check those out. Both of those got spun on the radio, about 30 different stations across the United States. And then for Late Night Savior, there's a song called Glass House, and that was the first song that I ever contributed any riffs towards the band's music. And that song has actually been getting a lot of radio play in the Salt Lake City area in general. Um,
okay.
since I'm not the one who's managing that band, I actually am not sure if that song or any of their other songs are being spun like around the country. But I know that uh, you know they've done some touring nationally, but they're really big in the Salt Lake area and surrounding states. So I know that there's a couple radio stations in Idaho that play them as well.
Oh shit. Hell yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think so. It's pretty cool that Glass House has been played a lot in the Salt Lake City area on their local rock station. There's actually a hockey team. I think it's a pro level hockey team. Let me look it up. They're called the Grizzlies, I think. Grizz.
If I remember correctly, you guys actually played Glass House when you were here in Vegas.
Yes, yes, we did. Okay, so the Utah Grizzlies of the ECHL are the Utah's premier professional ice hockey club. So when Glass House came out 6 months ago or so, they were using our song, Late Night Savior's song, Glass House, as like anytime that there was a foul in the game, they would play Glass House.
That is fucking awesome.
So, I mean, I don't know like who picked the song or how that happened, but like we caught wind of that and we're like, that's freaking cool. So,
Keep doing it.
you know, yeah, that's my claim to fame with Late Night Savior. Late Night Savior's been around for about like 8 years, but I've only been in the band for 2 years, and I contributed, a lot of the riffs in that song, and it's getting some airtime, and the Utah Grizzlies are using it when they they play games.
That's still like, just wow. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
uh, okay, before we branch out of music, I have one last question, and if you were to choose one song, which song would you say is your favorite to either just perform, to play, or to share with people?
Okay. Am I picking from like the Late Night Savior discography, or like my solo stuff, or
We'll say solo stuff.
um I would say uh that's hard because I'm kind of biased just because I really enjoy the music that I've written. I would say like Weather the Storm or the song Overcome
Ooh,
um are probably some of my favorites. Those songs are about uh like this, it's in the title, overcome,
yeah.
overcoming obstacles in your life, and like Weather the Storm is getting hit with all of these things from life, and if you can hunker down and weather that personal storm, like you can get through anything.
Yeah.
So that, like, if
I think
anyone
that.
were to listen to my music, I would kind of start with those two songs, and like a lot of my lyrical content is kind of in that vein.
Well, everybody, you heard the man. You know what songs to look for. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's why I resonated so deeply with Weather the Storm. Was growing up, especially here in Vegas, it ain't the prettiest fucking city in the world. There's been a lot of hardships and just stuff that I've had to personally overcome, and just a lot of stuff I grew up around or having to deal with. Helped me build the resilience, helped me learn how to weather the storm.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's why that song is my personal favorite.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that we can all relate to. I mean, everyone goes through trials and tribulations, and I when I was writing those lyrics, I just thought that um, I think that a lot of people could connect with what I was writing about, and um, I really enjoy sharing that song with people when they're just starting to get into listening to my music.
Okay, all right. So I think now I think we got what, like 10 minutes left now. Let me see. Actually, we have been going for we have about 3 minutes, 2 minutes now.
Okay. Yeah, hit me with another question, and
uh,
then we'll wrap it up.
all right. Well, hmm. I'll make this like a 2-3 part question. This is gonna be based on motocross now, because I
Okay.
mean I can see that you're still wearing one of your ride shirts.
Yeah.
But so I remember you telling me that recreational, you've been riding for, I believe it was 10 years, and then racing for about a year?
Yeah, yeah, that's in rough numbers. Yes.
Good estimate.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So when it comes to racing, do you remember where your first race was held?
Yes, absolutely. Um, so my first race was actually in 2021, and that was at the track. Uh, it was called Riverdale. Now it's called Tootle Motocross Park.
Toodle.
Um, and that's the town that it's in, is in Tootle, Washington.
Oh, okay.
Uh, but so my first race that I ever entered was in 2021, which that's now 3 years ago. But um, so it was a motocross race, and I was like, man, I've been riding dirt bikes for a long time. Like, I think I could, rip around with these kids. Well, I entered the race and there was 28 riders, and I got 14th in both motos. Because for those of you who don't know motocross, uh, you it's a two race format. So you take the average of the two races. So I finished 14th and 14th. So overall, I took 14th.
Well, that answers the next
Um,
question.
yeah. So overall I took 14th out of 28 riders, and that was in the beginner class. And basically, like, I had no idea like how fast everyone was going to be. Like the competition is steep. Like the beginner class is not beginner. Okay, they're fast.
Oh shit.
But so I actually had a really bad crash on the finish line during that race, and I was like, okay, this was super fun, but if I'm going to take racing seriously, and if I want to be safe on the motocross track, then I need to go back to the drawing board, and I need to do some training and figure out how I can ride fast and safe. Or I should say, you should ride safe first, and if you can ride safely and have the confidence to ride safely, then the speed will come later. So I didn't do any racing after 2021, and I just rode the bike and did a bunch of research on YouTube and found a ton of like tutorials on like training, and kind of like got into just like watching motocross and watching these pro level guys race. And then the summer of last year, I entered another race, and I started getting podiums. I did 5 races last year, and I took second and third in all of the races. I didn't get any first place trophies, but I took second and third in the beginner classes,
Still amazing.
and I was like, wow, like this is amazing. I'm having fun, and I feel like I'm good at it. And also doing motocross, it's like exactly what I was looking for, because I kind of wanted to get away from touring as much, because I toured so much in Sleep Signals and my old band Within Sight. Like, I've spent so much time over the last 10 years being away from home. I was like, man, motocross is like this family oriented thing, to where like everyone goes camping and they camp at the racetrack the whole weekend.
Oh,
I
that's
just
awesome.
raced just raced this weekend, and I got home 15 minutes before we started this podcast, and the family gets to come out. We all camp together, and it's awesome, because we get to spend time together and do this thing together. And my wife has been racing this year. One of my really good friends, Jacob, he's been racing. My dad just bought a bike and he wants to get into it. So um,
Hell
it's
yeah.
just been super awesome getting into motocross, and just like grinding it out. Just like how you were saying that you're playing guitar like 45 minutes to 2 hours every day. It's the same thing with motocross. Like, if you put in 1 hour every day, like, then you're going to put in 7 hours a week. And you're going to
Yeah.
beat that other guy who only put in 2 hours on the weekend because he's only writing on Saturdays. So
Consistency is key.
exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're just about out of time now.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I would just like to express my gratitude again for you joining us and, just giving us a nice history of Grant Evans.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was super fun, man. And I wish you the best of luck with your podcast. I know this is your first one, but um, I will. I know that maybe like Brandon from Late Night Savior would love to probably do a podcast with you, and I know
Oh,
maybe a
definitely.
couple other people that if you're just looking for some other musicians to do some interviews with,
Anybody and everybody.
yeah, dude. I'll definitely throw them your way.
All right, and then for those of you who are watching, you will be able to find all of Grant's music. And do you have any merch links?
I don't. It's been on my list of things to do, but at the same time, I've been debating on whether or not like I should, you know, I'm at this like segue in my life where I next year I'm going to be entering the semi-pro class in motocross, and it's like there's music and there's motocross,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking about like starting a separate like Instagram and a separate like Facebook, and I'm like, because I want to post about my music stuff, but then I want to post about my motocross stuff, and I feel like both audiences like are very separate.
I mean, yes
So
and no, because I guarantee quite a few people that are into the motocross scene are also into the heavier music scene as well.
that's true. But yeah, I've been kind of debating on whether or not I want to like start a website and maybe put out some merch and stuff. So I don't have a merch site yet, but I would say like if you could just listen to any of my music on any streaming platform, it's my name, Grant Evans, on there. That would mean the world to me if you would just listen to my music, and if any of the songs resonate with you, add that song to your liked playlist and come back to it and enjoy it. That would mean the world to me.
Well, you don't have to worry because for everyone watching, all of Grant's links to his Spotify, his YouTube, his. Are you on Pandora?
Yeah.
His Pandora. All of his links will be down below. You guys will be able to listen to his music, add it to your favorited playlists. So, do that. Like his music. How
Thank
can you
you.
not
Thank
like
you.
it? So, with that being said, everybody, have an amazing day, have an amazing afternoon, have an amazing night. Stay happy, live life, and keep on smiling. Love you guys, and thanks for tuning in.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Grant.
Thank you.
It's been a
Thank
lot of
you.
fun.